Hello and welcome everybody to the OG RAV4 channel. I am Omar, and in today's video I want to give you a 1-year update of what my ownership experience has been after owning this 95 JDM Toyota RAV4 for 1 year. I will tell you the things that I absolutely love about it and some of the things that I wish were a little bit different. So let's get to it. So my wife and I are in this beautiful town called Scotts Valley, which is just next door to Santa Cruz, California, celebrating our wedding anniversary. But this occasion is triple special because we're also celebrating that we have owned this Toyota RAV4 for a little over a year. For those of you who don't know, in August of last year, I traveled to Washington State and then bought it and traveled back with it to California. So we thought, why not make a 1-year anniversary video of what it's been like to own this. We actually do have a full walk around and tour video in our channel that you can go check. I'm going to leave the link right here so that if you're interested, you can get every single detail about this RAV4. But that's not all. We're actually also celebrating our 1-year anniversary of having launched our channel, the OG RAV4 channel, on YouTube. This wouldn't have been possible without all of you guys' support. We recently just reached over 1,600 subscribers on YouTube, and we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts because none of this would be possible without you guys. We love this car, we love bringing you videos, so please keep supporting us. Please be sure that you hit that like button. Please be sure that you subscribe to the channel and that you ring that bell so that you always get notified when we launch new videos. Okay, so we'll start with the outside. Now guys, this is not going to be an extremely comprehensive list. These are just the things that I really like about my car. Obviously, it's a subjective opinion, so you guys can also let me know if there's other things that you guys like or dislike about your first generation Toyota RAV4s. So let's start with the outside and let's talk about the obvious. I've talked about it before, but I just do not get tired because it's just so cool. It is the Raptor liner. This is one of the things that people ask me about the most. Hey, how did you get that look? What type of paint did you use? And this is Raptor liner. That's all it is. The guy that I bought it from, he actually had it completely bed lined at a shop before I bought it, and he just adds to that aggressive and tactical look that really attracted me to the car. So you can see the entire car is covered in it. That combined with this bull bar, this is probably the thing that people ask me the most about this vehicle. Where can I get that bull bar, or where did you buy it? And as I've said before, it came with the car when I bought it, but I have seen some of these for sale on eBay, or if you guys just conduct a quick Google search and write something like first generation Toyota RAV4 bull bar, where can I buy it? You might be able to get a hold of one of those. But it was already installed and already came to it. So it was the combination of these two elements that really sold me when I was making a decision of whether or not I wanted to buy this car. To me, these two things in combination with the wheels and tires, it's really what makes this car stand among the rest first generation Toyota RAV4s. Like I said, I think it makes it look very tactical. So as you can see, the car is wrapped in KMC wheels, the entire car, and also the spare tire also has one as well. And these are Yokohama Geolandar all-terrain tires. The other question I often get is what size your wheels and tires are, and this is just the stock size, the stock tire. I believe these are actually 215, it says right here, 215/70 R16. And for those of you who don't know, that's actually the original stock tire size that this car comes with, but because they're all terrain, they actually do make it look a little more aggressive. These three things combined just give this car such an amazing and aggressive look, and that is perhaps to this day, every time that I park and walk away from the car, I always turn around because it's just so sexy. It's just amazing to look at it. I think that if you don't look back whenever you park your car, to just spend a few seconds to look at it, you probably bought the wrong car. The other thing that's really practical that I like about this car, obviously you can see this is the 2-door model, not the 4-door. The 4-door model is the one that's extremely typical here in the US. These ones are actually very hard to find. So because this has the short wheelbase, it makes it extremely easy to park anywhere. It's super easy to maneuver it. Like I said, my wife and I are here celebrating our anniversary, and we actually went to San Francisco and we went to walk around the Golden Gate Bridge, and we actually walked across the Golden Gate Bridge. But as some of you can imagine, San Francisco is an extremely busy city. Lots and lots of people, sees a lot of tourists, so it is extremely difficult to find parking. But not with this guy. People here in San Francisco, they're idiots, they don't know how to drive, and you are obligated to find a lot of parallel parking. So because people don't know how to drive, they leave a lot of space in between their vehicles when they park right next to a curb, which makes it great for me because I can fit right in between where those guys don't, and I don't have to spend like 30 minutes trying to find a parking spot. Now, the other thing that I really love about this car is its four-wheel drive capability. As most of you know, this guy has real-time four-wheel drive. That's what Toyota calls it, meaning that the four-wheel drive system is always on. You cannot turn it off. The driver cannot turn it off from in here. This little car is extremely capable, and we just want to show you a couple of clips of how it behaves here in the place where we're staying, where it's a lot of dirt, there's a lot of holes, it's a lot of uneven terrain. And I was fortunate enough to actually put it to the test under extreme snow and blizzard conditions here in the Sierra Nevada mountains. I was coming back from Utah to California, driving on the 80 coming west, and this was in the middle of the winter in February, and the Reno area in the Sierra Nevada mountains, Tahoe and Truckee got just blasted with a lot of snow. So during those conditions, Caltrans does not, they close the road and they do not allow people who don't have four-wheel drive systems to keep going because they're probably going to get stuck. So I'm gonna put a clip right now so that you see the things that I was dealing with when I was coming back, but this little guy just handled it like a champ. There were a bunch of cars that got stuck, even big trucks, F-150s or Chevy trucks that got stuck, but my little me, tiny little 95 Toyota RAV4 was able to just plow through the snow like it was nobody's business. So I am extremely satisfied with the four-wheel drive capabilities that this little guy offers you. Thing that is both a very good thing and it's also kind of its demise is the engine. Perhaps not so much the engine, but the engine bay. Given that this car is so tiny, you can see if you take a look, everything is very squeezed in, is very tight. So a lot of the parts, when you go to replace them, they're extremely difficult to get to. Now, as I've said in previous videos, this vehicle is equipped with the 3SFE 4-cylinder 2-liter engine, and this is an extremely legendary engine. This guy, combined with a 4-speed automatic transmission, has been recorded to last well over 500,000 miles if you keep up with the maintenance, and that just makes it extremely reliable. And these guys can keep going and going with extremely basic maintenance. If all you do is change the oil, it's gonna last a really long time. Unfortunately, I found out the hard way that while this guy is extremely reliable, this engine is, just because of the way that the engine sits, you can see it's kind of tilted at an angle, right? So it's not sitting level, it's somewhat tilted to the back, so is extremely prone to leak oil. When I bought it, it was leaking oil, and after doing some research, I found out that it was leaking oil from the oil pump gasket. The 5SFE have the same issues. Now, whereas in my Toyota Camry that basically has this exact same setup, because the vehicle is bigger, the engine bay has so much space, it is extremely easy to work on. Any mechanic loves working on those cars. One, because they don't give you a lot of problems, but two, it's extremely easy to get to everything. Whereas in this Toyota RAV4, again, you can see that everything is so tight. So that job actually required to remove a ton of parts just to get to that oil pump and replace the gasket. When I first went to get a quote here in California, they quoted me 8 hours of labor and $1,400. That was insane. Literally, I asked the guy, you're ripping me off, right? Like that's gotta be a joke. Because in my Camry for the same exact job, is about half that price. But the guy told me, look, unfortunately, because there's very little space, we actually have to remove a ton of stuff to get to it. So that's actually how I met Lab Coat Paul. I decided to reach to him on Instagram because I thought they were just ripping me off. I messaged Paul and said, look, man, they quoted me 8 hours of labor for this job. That's gotta be insane, right? That's almost like an engine out job. And he messaged me back and said, unfortunately, that's true. It's just that you have to remove so many parts. Basically, when you want to replace the oil pump gasket, it behooves you to do jobs like an entire water pump and timing belt job because you have to remove all that anyway. So you might as well change a lot of that, all your belts and whatnot. So that's how I met Paul. I actually was making a trip to Utah at the end of the year. So I told him, look, I trust you. You obviously know what you're doing. I believe you're honest. So would you mind doing this job for me? And he charged me quite a bit less for it. So that's kind of a plus and a minus, right? Again, this is an extremely reliable drivetrain, but because everything is so squeezed in, again, there's not a lot of space. Just be prepared that if you do need massive jobs done on it, and if you can't do your own work, then you're probably gonna end up spending quite a bit of money in terms of labor. Now guys, keep in mind, I'm being extremely nitpicky here. These are things that I actually had to think really hard about because overall, I just really love this car. But there are a thing or two that I wish it had. Perhaps my biggest complaint of things it doesn't come with, at least this year doesn't, is cruise control. If you come right here, normally the cruise control, obviously this is a right-hand drive, but Toyota has a kind of like a cruise control system that comes over here in the steering columns, right? And you have like a little lever and you can press some buttons so that you can set your speed when you're on the freeway and you don't have to worry about it, right? Well, this one doesn't have one. I'm not sure if it's because of the year. It's a 95 and perhaps Toyota didn't launch cruise controls that year. When the RAV4 was introduced in the US in 96, I believe that they already came with cruise control. Or it very well could be that this is a JDM. So, you know, perhaps in Japan, you know, they don't use freeways as much as we do here in the US. But let me tell you, you do miss this guy when you are on the freeway trying to maintain 80 miles an hour and you are doing trips of over 1,000 miles. I had to learn that the really hard way when I traveled from California to Utah and back. I had to do that trip twice. It's about 13 or 1,400 miles or about 2,500 kilometers round trip. And let me tell you, because this is such a tiny engine, right? And you have to go through the Sierra Nevada mountains and you really climb up there in terms of elevation. It was struggling. It was definitely struggling, but my foot was what was struggling the most to keep up that speed. Obviously, this engine is not made to maintain those speeds for long periods of time. So let me tell you, I did wish that this model came with one of those. Now, the other thing that it's somewhat of a pet peeve, it's really not the end of the world, I'm just being picky here, is how loud it gets here inside the cabin when you're driving at freeway speeds. Right now, I'm going at about 70 miles per hour. There's some parts on this freeway that we can go up to 75 or 80, and you might be able to hear me because I'm wearing a microphone, but in general it gets very loud here. This car is not aerodynamic. It's not what it was designed for. It's very boxy. It doesn't cut through the wind efficiently, and also it makes a lot of rattling noises, especially from that back door, just because it's an old car. You know, it's a 27 almost 28-year-old car, so it is obviously going to be noisy. Nothing like modern cars that are very comfortable and quiet. But again, not a big deal. Lab Coat Paul has videos where he teaches you to fix that rattling noise in the back, and also if you want to, you can install sound deadening inside your vehicle. I've seen the video and heard the before and after, and to be honest, it's not that big of a difference. You can barely notice it, in my opinion. I think you spend way too much time and money for the little benefits that you get. So, again, a little annoying, but not enough for me to want to spend money on it. All right, everyone, this has been our 1-year ownership update. I hope you enjoyed it. We went over some of the things that I really love about this car and some of the things that I hate, although I feel like hate is quite a strong word. There's nothing really that I hate about this car. It's just little annoyances that I wish were a little bit different. We would love to hear your experiences. Please let us know in the comments if you own one of these. Please let us know what are some of the things that you absolutely love about your car and some of the things that you wish were different. As always, we thank you so much for your support, and we hope to see you on the next video. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell. We would appreciate your support. Until then, guys, thank you very much.